The erythrocyte is the term for the red blood cell, and it is the most common of the formed elements in the blood. In total, there are approximately 5 million erythrocytes per microliter of blood. And to give you a comparison, in the same volume of blood, there would be approximately 10,000 leukocytes. Erythrocytes compose approximately 45% of the total blood volume, and this percentage is defined as the hematocrit. The erythrocytes have the important functions of transporting most of the oxygen carried by the blood and also function in transporting some carbon dioxide. The protein that is responsible for carrying both oxygen and carbon dioxide is called hemoglobin. Erythrocytes survive in the blood for approximately 120 days, which is about 4 months, with new erythrocytes constantly being made by red bone marrow. Hematopoiesis is the term for the creation of new erythrocytes in the red marrow. Hematopoiesis specifically occurs in the red bone marrow found within the flat and irregular bones of the skeleton. So bones such as the cranial bones, facial bones, the sternum, the ribs, the vertebra, the hips, and then also the heads of the humerus and femur bones. Production of new erythrocytes begins with stem cells found in the red bone marrow called the hemocytoblast. The hemocytoblasts are also responsible for creating the precursor cells that develop into the various leukocytes and platelets, shown on the lower left of figure 18.4. So in fact, the hemocytoblast is the cell responsible for ultimately creating all of the formed elements of the blood. Some of the hemocytoblasts specifically develop into cells called reticulocytes, and reticulocytes are the precursor cells of the erythrocytes. Fully mature erythrocytes are cells that are shaped like biconcave discs, which is a disc-shaped cell that is flattened in the middle on both sides and is wider toward the edges. Erythroblasts are the cells that eventually become the reticulocytes, will eject most of their major organelles prior to maturation, which helps to make more room within the cell interior for hemoglobin proteins. Mature erythrocytes are extremely flexible. Some of the smallest capillaries and smallest blood vessels are smaller than the diameter of an erythrocyte, requiring the erythrocyte to fold upon itself in order to squeeze through. Hemoglobin is a large molecule found within the erythrocyte that is composed primarily from proteins and iron. Each hemoglobin molecule has 4 protein chains, collectively called the globins, and 4 iron-containing heme groups at the center of each of the protein chains. Iron is a critical component of hemoglobin because it is the iron that binds and carries the oxygen molecules. One iron-containing heme group will bind and carry a single molecule of oxygen. And since there are 4 heme groups per hemoglobin molecule, that means a single hemoglobin can carry up to a maximum of 4 molecules of oxygen, a term that is referred to as saturation when all of the heme groups are carrying oxygen. But clinically, we typically measure the percent saturation, which is often called percent sats or simply sats. We measure the percent saturation of all of the hemoglobin molecules within the blood. Most erythrocytes have approximately 250 million molecules of hemoglobin, and since each hemoglobin molecule can carry a maximum of 4 oxygen molecules when it's saturated, that means that each erythrocyte can carry approximately 1 billion molecules of oxygen. So in terms of the amount of hemoglobin contained within the erythrocytes in 100 milliliters of blood, a healthy adult female has approximately between 12 and 16 grams of hemoglobin per 100 milliliters of blood, while a typical healthy adult male has approximately 13 to 18 grams of hemoglobin per 100 milliliters blood. Testosterone, which is produced by the male reproductive system, is a stimulus for the creation of red blood cells, which accounts for the slightly higher hemoglobin concentrations in an adult male. Figure 18.7 shows the typical structure of hemoglobin with its 4 protein globin chains, here called alpha chain 1 and alpha chain 2, and beta chain 1 and beta chain 2, along with the iron-containing heme group at the center of each chain. Fe2+ is the chemical symbol for iron.